Digital signature means it provides a viable solution, a very good solution, like the same pen and paper method only. The digital signature also attaches the identity of a signer. Authentication, it says digital signatures are used in order to authenticate that particular source of message or the record. So students, it says as amendment of the IT Act 2008 introduced the term electronic signatures. Hello and a warm welcome to you all dear students. I, George Ulime, Commerce Faculty, Department of Commerce, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. Dear students, today we shall take up session 3 for Unit 5, that is Information Technology Act of 2000. Students, in the last class I was explaining to you about the various important terms which comes as a definition related to the various terms in this particular law or in the act. Now we shall continue with this. There are some more related to this particular terms. So the next term is related to digital signature and electronic signature. Now first let us take up what is digital signature. See, digital signature means it provides a viable solution, that is in order for creating a legally enforceable electronic records, right, and closing the gap in going fully, that is paperless, by completely eliminating the need to print documents for signing. So digital signature means it provides a viable solution, a very good solution for creating what? Legally enforceable electronic records. So legally it will allow to create an electronic record, so that it says closing the gap, that is in going fully paperless, by completely eliminating the need to print documents. So this particular digital signatures will allow, and it gives a very good solution for creating a legal enforceable electronic records, thereby coming to an end or putting an end for the paperless, that is by completely wiping away or deleting away, eliminating the need for printing the documents in order to put a signature. Paper document, then we need to manually put the signature, but for electronic, that is for digital, for electronic records, there is no need to put a person, that is a person need not to put a signature manually. So that is why we can use this particular digital signature for the that is for electronic records, which is been done through this particular, that is which is been done through electronic modes or through e-commerce. Now, digital signatures enables the replacement of slow and expensive paper-based approval process. So, this with the digital signature which has come into force, because of it, surely it will enable the replacement. That means you can replace the slow as well as which was very slow and which was very expensive, very costly, the paper-based approval documents or the process with now saying that the fast and low cost and fully digital ones. So you can use this digital signatures which is very fast and very less cost and fully digital one. Now the purpose of digital signature is the same as that of the handwritten signature. So what is the main purpose? It is nothing but for authenticating that particular document. Earlier it was that particular document which was in paper where you used to sign, and that becomes a legally authenticated for that particular document. Now here instead of paper we are using this particular signature, digital signature, for the electronic records. So which is an authentication for that particular record which is legally valid. Now instead of using a pen and paper, that is where we used to do in the normal process, that is in the paper document or for paper document, a digital signature uses digital keys, that is the public keys, we say cryptography. So instead of using pen and paper, in digital signature they use the digital keys, that is called as public key or cryptography. Like the same pen and paper method only, the digital signature also attaches the identity of a signer to the document and records a binding commitment to the document. So same way as we were using earlier in the manual method, that is using the pen and paper, the same way the digital signature also, it will attach the identity of that particular signer who is signing that particular document, that is the electronic document, and it records the binding of commitment towards that particular document. That means authentication. However, like an handwritten signature, it is considered impossible to forge a digital signature the way written signature might be. But in written signature, easily someone can forge your signature and they can manipulate anything. But here in digital signature, it cannot happen. That's what the specialty of this particular digital signature. Now, in addition to that, the digital signature also assures that any changes made to the data that has been signed cannot go undetected. So, same way, apart from that, what I explained to you here, it says the digital signature also assures that if there are any kind of changes which has to be made to the particular data which is there in the records, that has been signed, now cannot go undetected. Now, if something has gone wrong and you have signed it, then you cannot do any kind of changes or alteration. So surely it can be detected. You can find it out. So digital signatures are it is transportable and cannot be imitated by someone else. So it is transportable, but you cannot imitate. Someone cannot imitate your signature, right? And can be automatically time stamped. So a digital signature can be used with any kind of message, whether it is crypted or plain text, whether it is crypted or it is of plain text. Therefore, it says digital signatures provide the following three important features. First is authentication, second is integrity, third is non-repetition. Now, let us see what is authentication. Authentication, it says digital signatures are used in order to authenticate that particular source of message or the record or the data. Now, the ownership of this digital key is bound to be specific user. So, who is the ownership? Who will get this ownership of this particular digital signature? It says the ownership of the digital signature key is bound to be specific. That is, only the specific, that particular person or the user can use this particular key, and thus a valid signature shows that the message was sent by that particular user. So, when because of the ownership of the digital signature is given to only one person, so and if that particular person has put the signature, valid signature, surely that signature will show that this particular person has sent the message. So, no one can else manipulate it. Then second is integrity. It means in many cases the sender and the receiver of that message need assurance that the message has been not altered during the transmission. So, both, that is the message sender and the receiver at both the ends. So, they need what? They need that message, whatever is sent, they need an assurance that is not been altered at the time of transmission of that particular message. So, thereby it says digital signatures provide these features, that is by using cryptographic messages digest functions. And thirdly, it says non-repetition. Repetition means digital signatures ensure that the sender who has signed the information cannot at a later time deny having signed it. Now, if I have signed this digital signature in this particular document, and later if something goes wrong and I cannot deny it and say that no, I have not done it, it is not mine. So, you cannot rule out that. So, handwritten signature scanned and digitally attached with the document does not qualify as a digital signature. Now, in case I have signed a document, right, and that particular signature, if it is been scanned and it is been put or attached with any of the document, and that particular signature cannot be called as a digital signature. So, an ink signature can be easily replicated from one document to another by copying the image manually or electronically. So, here an ink, that is signature, a signature which has been put by ink, it can be easily duplicated from one document to another document, whereby you can copy that particular image and manually, whether it's manually or through electronic mode. Now, digital signature cryptographically binds an electronic identity to an electronic document, and therefore it says the digital signature cannot be copied to the another document. But whereas if you see about digital signatures, it says digital signature cryptographically binds the electronic identity. So, it has some electronic identity and to an electronic document. So, it will be attached as an electronic to an electronic document, and the digital signature, it cannot be copied from one document to another document. Now, students, coming to the next, it says digital signature under the IT Act of 2000. So, digital signature means authentication, or it is the way of saying that that is a proof or the evidence of any electronic record by a subscriber by means of any electronic method or procedure in accordance with the provisions of Section 3. Now, Section 3 deals with the condition subjects to which an electronic record or may be authenticated by means of fixing a digital signature which is created in two definite steps. Now, which are those two definite steps? First and foremost, it says the electronic record is converted into a message digest. First and foremost, they convert the electronic record into a message digest by using a mathematical function known as function. As function means it may be like this, or plus sign or minus sign or division sign, into sign, something like that, which digitally freezes the electronic record. So it will freeze electronic record when you use the hash function, and thus ensuring the integrity of the content. So surely it will safeguard the content of the intent communication contained in that particular electronic record. And any tampering with the contents of the electronic record will immediately invalidate the digital signature. So if anyone tries to tamper the contents which is there in the electronic records, surely immediately that will invalidate, that will surely take out the signature, that is, it will invalidate the digital signature who has signed it. Secondly, the identity of the person who is affixing this particular digital signature is authenticated out through using the private key which will attach itself to the message digest and which can be verified by anybody who has the public key corresponding to the private key. So if I am using the digital signature, I use a digital signature and I put my digital signature and it has been attached to that particular document. Now that particular digital signature, it says by using a private key. Now if anybody wants to just want to see or want to check, right, and verify my digital signature, they can use the public key where it is very correspondent to the private key. Now this will surely enable anybody to verify whether that particular electronic record is retained intact or not, and or has been tampered, if anyone has manipulated or tampered with, since it was so fixed with the digital signature. Then it also enables a person who has a public key to identify the originator of the message also. Now, as function, what is mean by as function? As function means an algorithm mapping or a translation of one sequence of bits into another. So it is totally like algorithm, or we say hologram mapping or translation of one sequence of bits into another, similarly smaller set known as result. So this will result in such that an electronic record yields the same as result every time, and an algorithm is executed with the same electronic records as its input, which is making computationally infeasible, that is, to derive or to reconstruct the original electronic record from the hash result which has been produced by the algorithm. That two electronic records can produce the same hash result using the algorithm. So students, I was telling you that digital signatures are means to ensure what? The validity of electronic transactions. However, who guarantees about the authenticity that such signatures are indeed valid or not false? So therefore it says, in order that the keys be secure, the parties must have a high degree of confidence in this particular public as well as private keys which have been issued to them. And the digital signature is not like our handwritten signature. Why? Because it says it is a jumble of letters and digits. So digital signature, it is a jumble of letters and digits. So it looks something different from handwritten signature. Now coming to the next important term, it says electronic signature. So this is also the part of this particular act, coming under the particular provisions of the Act of IT 2000. So electronic signature has also been dealt with under Section 3A of the IT Act of 2000. Now under this it says a subscriber, one who can authenticate any electronic record by using such kind of electronic signature or electronic authentication technique, which is considered reliable and also which can be specified in the second schedule. And it says any electronic signature or electronic authentication techniques will be considered reliable if Number one, the signature creation data or the authentication data are within the context in which they are used and linked to the signatory, or as the case may be, the authenticator and of no other persons. Secondly, the signature creation data or the authentication data, where it says at the time of signing or putting the signature, under the control of signatory, or as the case may be, the authenticator and of no other person. Thirdly, it says any alteration which has to be made to the electronic signature made after affixing such signature is detectable. Then the fourth point says any alteration which is made to the information which is made after its authentication by electronic signature is also detectable. And the next point says if it fulfills such other conditions which may be prescribed, then an electronic signature will be deemed to be secure electronic signature. And in that case, if the signature creation data at the time of affixing the signature was under the exclusive control of the signatory and no other persons, and secondly, the signature creation data was stored and affixed in such exclusive manner as may be prescribed. So students, it says as amendment of the IT Act 2008 introduced the term electronic signatures. Now the implication of this amendment is that it has helped to broaden what the scope of the IT Act in order to include the new techniques as and when it is required, that is when the technology becomes more available for signing the electronic records apart from digital signatures. So students, these are the important topics which I have covered to you today under this session 3. Now let us go back and just see what are the important things we have understood, the topics which I understood in this particular session. First, I told you about the digital signature and the electronic signature. So digital signature means it provides a viable solution for creating legally enforceable electronic records, which is closing the gap in going fully into the paperless by completely eliminating or deleting the need to print the documents for signature or signing. But whereas digital signatures enable the replacement of slow and expensive paper-based approval process with fast, low cost and fully digitable ones. The main purpose of digital signature is that same as the handwritten signature. Now instead of using the pen and paper, digital signature uses what? Digital keys called as public keys and private keys. So public key cryptography. Likewise, the pen and paper method, the digital signature also attaches the identity of the signer to the document, and also it records a binding commitment on part of that particular document. And however, unlike any unwritten signature, it is considered impossible to forge a digital signature or to forge any kind of digital signature by way of written signature where it can be done. Apart from this, in addition to this, the digital signature also assures that if there is any changes made to that particular data and that has been signed, it cannot be undetected. It cannot go undetected. That means easily you can find out. So digital signatures are very much easily transportable and it cannot be imitated by someone else, and it can be automatically time stamped. So a digital signature can be used with any kind of messages or the message where it can be crypted as well as or plain text. So thus therefore digital signatures provide the following 3 features. First one is authentication, second is integrity, third is, so authentication means digital signatures are used to authenticate the source of the message. So the ownership of the digital signature is key to bound to a specific user, and thus valid signatures shows that message was sent by that particular user. Whereas integrity, it says the sender and the receiver of that particular message, they need an assurance that that particular message has not been altered during the time of transmission of that particular message. So digital signatures provide these features by using cryptography messages, which is the digest function. Whereas non-repudiation, it says under this digital signatures ensures that the sender who has signed that particular document or the information cannot be at a later time deny it and say that I have not signed it. So handwritten signature can be scanned digitally and it cannot be attached to a document, right? And it cannot be qualified as a digital signature because it says an ink signature cannot be an ink signature can be easily duplicated from one document to another document by copying the image manually as well as electronically. So, digital signature cryptographically binds an electronic identity of an electronic document, and thereby it says the digital signature cannot be copied to another document. So, here the digital signature means authentication of any kind of electronic records by a subscriber by means of which an electronic method or procedure in accordance with the provisions of section 3. And section 3 deals with the conditions subject to which an electronic record may be authenticated by means of affixing digital signature, which is created in 2 definite steps. First is electronic record is converted into a message digest by using a mathematical function known as function, where and which it digitally freezes the electronic records, thereby it ensures the integrity of the content of the intended communication which is containing the electronic record. And any tampering with this content of this information in the electronic record will immediately invalidate the digital signature. Secondly, the identity of the person affixing the digital signature is authenticated through a use of private key which attaches itself to the message digest, and which can be verified by anybody by using the public key corresponding to the private key. And this will enable anybody not to verify whether the electronic record is retained intact, has been tampered or not, and therefore it is so fixed with the digital signature. So, this will surely enable a person who has a public key in order to identify the originator of that particular message. So, as function is an algorithm mapping or a translation of one sequence of bit into another, generally smaller set known as result. So, such an electronic record yields the same result as result every time the algorithm is executed. Same electronic records as its input by making computationally feasible to derive the reconstruct of original electronic record from the as result produced by the algorithm, and the electronic records that can produce the same as result in using algorithm. So, digital signature means to ensure validity of electronic transactions. Whoever guarantees about the authenticity, such signatures are intended, valid or not false. And digital signature is not like the handwritten signature, it is jumble of letters and digit. It looks something different. So, electronic signature, it has been dealt under section 3 of the IT Act 2000. A subscriber can authenticate any electronic record by using such electronic signature or electronic authentication techniques, which is considered reliable and may specific in second schedule. And as well as an electronic signature is also, or electronic authentication technique will be considered reliable if. So, these are the things I explained to you. So, students, these are the important topics which I covered to you under this particular various provisions or the terms coming under this particular IT 2000. So, hope you understood the topics which I covered to you today. See you in the next session. Until then, take care. Have a nice day. Thank you, students.